Welcome to the channel, everybody. I am OGL Schmitt. This is Custom Creator, and this one is for the Renegades. Special shout out to you guys. You've taken the channel by storm this week. I want to thank you guys for your engagement and your kind words in the comments. Got a lot of requests as well. I got a lot of requests for the tale of Jenny and Screech in particular, so I'm going to be checking that out. This is 3 songs that have sort of been knitted together, and it's about 13 minutes long, so 13 minutes of Ren. I can do that. I do know that this story is not a happy one, though. So, but I'm ready to go. Just real quick, let me pay the bills here. If you would like to make reaction videos or YouTube content, try this program I'm using here called StreamYard, because let me tell you guys something. I was using a flip phone 2 Christmases ago. So if I'm sitting here making a reaction video, there is absolutely no limit to what you guys can accomplish. StreamYard is it's affordable. It is very user-friendly. There's actually a pretty good support team. So if you have a problem, they'll actually get back with you really quickly. And they're always adding new features. So comes highly recommended. As far as supporting the channel goes, we have some links down there along with the StreamYard link. But we have channel memberships and Patreon. Really cool exclusive content there. Some exclusive reactions, some behind-the-scenes stuff. It's just a good way to support the channel, help us pay the bills, help us, try to improve our tech. We've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go. And then we have a Discord, no charge there. We just always welcoming to loud, passionate voices. We talk about everything, movies, music, mental health, the whole 9 yards. So with that out of the way, appreciate y'all's patience, but let's check out Ren, the tale of Jenny and Screech. Okay, I promise this won't be a pause fest, but he's already done some really interesting things. That guitar motif in the beginning, that sounded very classical, almost medieval. So Ren is like a modern day bard almost. Uh, and then the sounds he was making there vocally, it sort of reminded me of the sort of falsetto in the beginning of High Ren, but this one there was almost like a lip trill to it. It almost sounded like a musical version of the sounds you make when you're kind of bored. Things like that. It's interesting that he would sort of make that into something musical. I'm liking the setting already, sort of like this back alley. Definitely sets the stage, no pun intended. Has such a unique artistic vision and voice, this Mr. Ren. So I'm going to go back and, yeah, let's keep going. I want to hear this guitar motif again.
It was a quiet, dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before she wanted to escape. Can you blame? Well, on the very same night, in a different place, there walked this hooded young youth by the name of James. He was 14 years old and out of his brain, he'd been smoking ganja with the boys. James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech, he was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief, at 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul. As Jenny walked home all alone, she felt scared. Usually she was alright, but it was like there was something in the air. A divine intervention telling her to beware. Maybe intuition bogging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance with the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Up all go Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me your...
All right, so right off the bat, Ren is describing two characters walking down the streets. One is a fatigued and concerned young lady walking home alone, and one is a young, amped up hoodlum, for lack of a better term. This could not possibly end well. Musically, I love how Ren he has that classical sound going when he's talking about Jenny, but when he starts talking about Screech, he's doing like this very percussive. It's building tension. If there was distortion on his guitar, it would sound like a chugga chugga. Whereas when he was singing about Jenny, it had that sort of light popping feel that was kind of catchy. You could almost bounce to it. So definitely, message being sent here that encountering Screech is not going to be fun. Uh, his voice is so. I don't want to overuse the word unique. I guess the drinking game, take a shot every time I say unique, you'll die of liver poisoning halfway through this reaction. But he's doing these things where it sounds like he will decrescendo and add like a really quick vibrato at the end of a note, almost like in one phrase, and he will alternate between sustained singing and really quick, rapid, rhythmic phrasing, almost like rapping. I don't think he's like full on rapping just yet, just doing very uh, staccato melodic singing. Yeah, it's there's so much freedom in both his voice and his guitar playing. So he's able to create a song that's got so many dynamics, even though it's just one voice and one guitar. Really impressive. Gonna go back a little bit so we can catch this transition. And of course, Ren used to actually do busking on the street, so this is he's been essentially a bard, for lack of a better term. His story is a very fascinating one. I definitely recommend it. Anyone here who's not a fan of Ren should definitely check him out. Check out his story. Check out his what he's gone through, and check out what he stands for. He's very much a stand-up guy. So let's keep going.
Maybe intuition bogging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance with the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Up all go Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me all your money, bitch, give it to me. If you cooperate, then you'll soon be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't fucking look at me. I mean it, bitch, are you listening to me? Jenny freezes statue like a lady shakes stalactite. Feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing at? You playing games with me? I swear to fucking God, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, go? You don't know me? The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech reached with the sheath of the blade, with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete, and he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in her breath. It was a quiet dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny lay still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, 'cause she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame.
So I'm guessing that's probably the end of Jenny's tale, both musically and end of her life. So the tragedy of this is number one, this happens so often, and it happens everywhere. People walking home alone in the dark, getting robbed, mugged, murdered. Um, Women are more commonly victims of this, whereas with men, it's more like gang violence and such that they tend to be victims more of. But to me, this is two people meeting, and society has failed them both. What? How is a 14-year-old, a thief on the streets? And in Jenny's case, I'm guessing just from hints Ren dropped, with the high heeled shoes, and she'd walked this so many times before, she was either maybe she was a sex worker, or maybe she was just someone that was, I don't know. I do want to go to some of Ren's lyrics because his imagery and his wordplay is next level. Jenny frees the statue like a lady-shaped stalagmite, fear like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find the strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. Screech reached for the sheath of the blade with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete as he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in a breath. That is a very poetic way of describing a young lady getting murdered. Um, and then just the sort of return of that classical sounding guitar, and Ren doing some interesting sort of like re-attacks with his vocals. It was almost I don't know, it was interesting. It was sympathetic, but then kind of, oh well, as if this is just something that happens all the time. Uh, so I'm guessing that with Screech's tale, we will maybe tell the same story from Screech's point of view, or maybe go into what led Screech to this life. Either way, Jenny was the one that died, but I do kind of feel like it seems like right off the bat, I see them both as victims. Just one also happens to be an aggressor. This is not justifying what Screech did by any means. So, without any further context, I just want to continue the tale. So yeah, Ren's already got me hooked. All right, different location. Cutting Ren off right before he starts talking. I just wanted to say more of that classical guitar in the beginning here. That did sound somewhat similar to the theme at the beginning of Jenny's tale, and I wonder if that's intentional. Um, when he went from that, when he started playing the more, and it sounded almost like a string arrangement he was playing. Building tension once again. That bad things are about to happen. I like how Ren has picked these sort of dangerous sounding uh, melodies and rhythms to associate with Screech. And I also wonder if the classical sounding bits at the beginning. I wonder if that's sort of meant to symbolize like the tranquility that you see on the surface as opposed to the chaos underneath. Like you watch, this young lady walking home, and you can tell she's tired, but it's you don't see anything. You just see a fatigued young lady on her way home. You don't see the torment or the chaos that might be going on in her head or the fear. And just like it looked like he was in this dilapidated apartment building. So you look at that and it's like, okay, there's nothing going on, but you don't know what's going on behind those walls and behind those windows and behind those doors. But I want to hear that guitar motif again, and I'll try to let this play a little bit more without pausing so much.
Our story, it starts right at the end. At the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben. Dear Screech, dear boy, where did he go? He melted into the black night just like snow. Patrick, man, let me in, please open the door. I think I fucked up, Patrick, really fucked up, man, I'm not sure. I got crazy, left this lady lying still on the floor. I think I killed her, Patrick, come on, man, I can't knock no more. But Screech kept on knocking till his knuckles became sore. But there's no sign of Patrick down at number 54. No refuge for our villain, for the bitter hands of fate. With something far more sinister in mind, it does away. Hey, babe, you in? Nah, nothing really, I'm just a bit tired, listen. Can I swing around yours for a few moments? I just really miss you, babe. What the fuck do you mean you're busy? You fucking bitch! For fuck's sakes!
God, I'm pausing so much. I apologize. I don't want to forget these things that I'm seeing. So, when first of all, I love how Ren is basically like a one-man orchestra. Like, this feels very music theater. It's just one dude. I love how he, like, knocking on the guitar symbolizes knocking on the door. And when nobody answered, at first I was like, serves you right, buddy. But the way Ren was able to sort of show his desperation and his confusion, and even like he tries to call his girlfriend, and she apparently can't see him. So he's been pushed away by his friend and his girlfriend. I don't mean to laugh. There's honestly nothing funny going on here, but he's been pushed away by his friend and his girlfriend, like right around the same time, and that, uh, no, like, is there a single reason that those two individuals are pushing him away? So my point being, how many times has this young man been abandoned by people who he thought he could trust? So you start to see then, like I mentioned, that they were both victims. So you see Jenny, and you see like her, the sort of the tragedy of her life, and also the tragedy of her death, and you see Screech as this villain. But then you start to see this, and I'm like, okay, well, wait a second. Maybe he's just doing what he feels he has to do. Maybe enough people have pushed him away. He feels that he has to take care of himself, and the only way to do that is to be clever and to be ruthless and to be cunning. So then I start to feel bad for the guy. So yeah, Ren is just amazing at being able to capture all these emotions. So I'm gonna go back.
Nah, nothing really, I'm just a bit tired, listen. Can I swing around yours for a few moments? I just really miss you, babe. What the fuck do you mean you're busy? You fucking bitch! For fuck's sakes!
Clearly no control over his emotions.
Siren sounds approaching like a banshee in the night. The shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. But Screech was never one to run, not one to miss a fight. One hand upon his blade, he turned to face the blue lights. Come on then, you fucking cunts, let's fucking have you then. I am Screech, I'm the boss, I'm the ender of men. You think that uniform you're wearing means that you own these streets? These are my fucking streets, and they call me fucking Screech. Richard was an officer who stood at 6'3", working London on the night shift. What he didn't think he'd see was a boy running at him like an animal possessed. With no time to hesitate, he fired 4 bullets at Screech's chest. Our story, it ends right at the start. Young Screech and poor Jenny lying 1 street apart. An officer shaken by the boy that he claimed. 2 bodies lay lifeless, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame.
So now Screech has fallen. 1 street away from Jenny, he said. Um, and his story definitely has more depth than it did when we first meet him. When we first met him in Jenny's tale, he was just a murderer, a criminal, um, someone to be despised, and there's no excuse for what he did. But what do you say about how a man views the worth of his life if he's charging police officers who have guns while he has a knife? How he puffs up and basically challenges them. So you get that feeling that this is he's been a product of probably a very abusive home, and he's probably fallen in with a bad crowd, and he learned what he thought was strength, which was just sort of an outward projecting of the same violence that he's been absorbing. So he's almost like a prism now, sort of reflecting back what has been put into him, as opposed to taking it and being able to either dissipate it or focus it. He's just spraying it out. Um, yeah, both characters equally tragic. Um, so this is the tale of Jenny and Screech. We've heard both of their stories. I wonder who the third one is. I just also want to say, like, Ren can make that acoustic guitar so expressive. Um, how he's like the quick muted strumming. That's sort of like almost like the pumping on an orchestral violin or a string section, something like that. And then how he used the guitar as like a shotgun, channeling his inner Johnny Cash. Um, Also, props to him for mentioning that the officer feeling all this remorse for having to gun down a child. I'm from the United States. We have issues with police brutality here, and it's not a one-way street though. There's a lot of people who've never had a knife wielding assailant charge them would say he should have disarmed him, or they're like non-lethal ways. But when you have someone that's that crazy, when you have someone who's crazy enough to charge you holding a knife while you have a gun, you're going to take the safest route because you want to go home to your family. This is not a justification, but saying we need to look at things from both perspectives. This is what Ren is doing. He's taking this from the perspective of each character, and I guess maybe we're going to add a third. I don't know. Maybe the third song is the police officer. I don't know. I purposely kept myself from as much as possible. Um, was Ren's friend and girlfriend was Ren's girlfriend cheating on him with his friend Patrick, the one who wouldn't open the door? See, how many times has he been through something like that? How many times has his trust been betrayed to the point where he just starts to become very misanthropic and hates humanity? I'm babbling now. Let's go to the third song. But Station identification. One moment. I just wanted to focus on a couple of the lyrics from Screech's tale here. Sirens sound approaching like a banshee in the night, the shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. But Screech was never one to run, not one to miss a fight. One hand upon his blade, he turned to face the blue light. Come on, then, you fucking cunts. Let's fucking have you then. I am Screech. I'm the boss here. I'm the ender of men. You think that uniform you're wearing means you own these streets? Well, these are my fucking streets, and they call me fucking Screech. He said this to a 6'3" police officer with a gun. Excuse my bluntness, but how fucked up do you have to be to think that that's a good idea? Okay, so maybe his situation will be, maybe this next song will have the answers that we're looking for. Let's keep going. Thank you all for your patience. There's so much to digest in this. Violet. Okay.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic beats and bloodstained sheets, Our Lady weeps, she's tired and frail. To set the scene, we must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale.
So his skill on the guitars is amazing. I've almost never seen tapping, the two-handed tapping on an acoustic before. Um, I think Michael Hedges may be the only one I can think of that I've ever seen do that. Um, and it had a good sound too. Um, and then he would like snap a string as well. And there, just right before I paused it again, it's he was using guitar and like doing this ascending run to make it sound like he was rewinding time. It's but just his two instruments, his voice and his guitar, are both so dynamic and expressive that it feels like music theater. It feels like a one man symphony. So impressive. Even though beautiful melody to start this, the vocalizations he was doing there, similar to the ones he was doing at the beginning of Jenny's Tale, whereas those felt aimless, these felt unstable, tormented, ghostly. Um, and just add this to the hospital setting. Ren conceptualizes and directs these videos. Am I right? That's he. Yeah, he's ridiculously talented. Next level stuff. Okay, let me go back. I want to see that tapping bit, and then we'll keep going.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic beats and bloodstained sheets, Our Lady weeps, she's tired and frail. To set the scene, we must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale. Violet was a silent girl, grew up with violent starts. Her mother was a drinker and her father was a bastard. Every night he took her tie but never left the room. I'll spare you of the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew. Violet was a silent girl, she moved out at 16. A semi-detached council flat, paid for by a welfare scheme. Packing shelves at Tesco, stacking jars like pickled bricks. She met a boy named Stevie and he was a little prick. Violet was a silent girl and Violet she fell fast. See, Stevie was a wrong un, but he sure knew how to charm her. Every night he took her tie but never left the room. History repeats itself, he'd paint her black and blue and dark. She never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance. Violet, why are you always so quiet? On her bedroom door and he's irate. He's been drinking and smoking, he's up late. And he stands by her bedside, she shakes, but her eyes stay shut. You fucking slut, I know you're up. And he pinches her eyelids and folds them up. Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent. That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. Hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown, blood splat, bone crack, knick-knack, paddywhack, one to the jaw and the tooth spat, detached, fist connects and disconnects a bone. A quick deflect to misdirect the blow, but nonetheless his punches met her throat. Such a mess he's left her bruised and broke. Violet, why you always so silent, Violet? Why you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet? In character, she stays silent. Well, say something, Violet. Silence. Fucking say something, Violet. Silence. Wait. Say something, Violet. Not one word. She stays quiet.
So much like Screech before, he was, I guess, only intending to beat her half to death and ended up beating her fully to death. The lyrics on That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot, hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown, blood splat, bone crack, knick-knack, paddywhack, one to the jaw and a tooth spat, detached, fist connects and disconnects the bone, a quick deflect to misdirect the blow, but nonetheless his punches met her throat, such a mess he's left her bruised and broke. That is as vivid a description of a physical assault as I've ever heard set to music. Bands like Cannibal Corpse and a lot of those early death metal bands like to use the gore and splatter imagery just to sort of drum up controversy. Um, but that is there's nothing cartoonish, or that is as real as it gets. Not easy to listen to, even with Ren's amazing musical skills behind it. Yeah, I'm just gonna let it go.
London city, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. The doctor, in a state of shock, saw something here so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, she was 9 months gone. Turning to the doctor, Violet broke her silence and she cried, if I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive. The doctor soon regained composure, called the surgeon to come in. As Violet's world turned to black, the curtains closed, the lights went dim. In London city, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington just lost the fight to stay alive. A tragedy or a miracle, it happened on these very streets. Two twins aligned side by side. A girl named Jenny and a boy named Screech.
That's abrupt but compelling place to end it. Almost ends on a cliffhanger. Um, yeah, that you obviously feel for Violet, but you feel even more for those twins because they almost literally had no chance if that's the energy that they're coming from. Um, so, but first of all, Ren is absolutely amazing. Just his performance, his musicianship, his guitar playing, his vocals. He is so committed and so dynamic in all of those things. Just such a unique and captivating artist to watch and to listen to. And his visual aesthetic is on par too. The videos maybe don't look like they cost a whole lot, but like he gets the most out of every penny. I love the settings. I love how each one is appropriate. Um, so you have two girls dead, two young ladies dead because of violent men, and I don't want you all to think that I'm blaming the victim or anything like this. What I'm simply saying is that if you look at what the environment that Screech, for instance, came from, and I'm sure you would find that Stevie, was that his name? Let me check the lyrics again. Uh, yeah, Stevie. I'm sure if you went into his background, he probably was abused in his childhood too. So the old saying that you get out of life what you put into it, that same thing goes for human beings. So if you have these young men who are abused, who have nothing but hate and derision put into them, they're going to shoot it back out unless they learn how to banish it or how to focus it, how to create something useful out of it. Um, this is, I think, the burden or the responsibility, I should say, that teachers have, that coaches have, that policemen have. Um, I've heard stories of policemen actually, pulling people aside, and instead of like giving them a ticket, they'll say, "Hey, let's talk," and they'll give them some advice. There was a lady who got pulled over for speeding. She told the cop that she wanted to be a nurse, so he's like, "Okay, yeah, I won't give you this ticket, but you have to promise me, you know, you're gonna be a nurse." So months later, she found him at the station. She had enrolled in college and was studying, and eventually did become a nurse. I think some kind of technician actually. So that you have to give those people something positive to counteract all the negativity. Especially for young men, I feel that their plight goes unnoticed because um, a lot of people don't notice men are victims of domestic violence as well. Men are 6 times more likely to commit suicide, 5 times more likely to end up homeless, and you really don't hear about a whole lot of social programs specifically to help young men. Even most school shootings, it's young men from broken homes, and we focus on the guns and we don't ask, okay, what broke this person mentally to where they're going to shoot up their classroom. Um, so I guess what I'm saying is, if you put a man in that position, um, when they're young, I mean, at any point, honestly, it sometimes seems like they have two choices. They can either become a a stronger, scarier monster than the ones that preyed on them, or they can be a corpse. Those should never be the only two decisions available. I pointed out Screech, charging an armed man larger than him while he only had a knife. Like, what kind of mindset does that have? So it's musical cycle of violence. It's going to repeat itself. Like I said, this energy gets put into them, and they're going to lash out. And when they lash out, again, not trying to defend them, not excusing it, but a lot of times they're just trying to give back what's been given to them. It's payback to them. Whatever pain that they're inflicting, maybe they feel that inside, and maybe they feel that's the only way the world will understand how they feel, is if they pummel them with their fist. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but you know, I think we've established here that logic really isn't winning out in this situation. So it's there's so many things that have to be considered, discussed, and changed for there to be any kind of major move in another direction. Ren actually bringing this to our attention, showing the different perspectives, is definitely a good thing. Um, but yeah, you need to replace the cycle of violence with a cycle of compassion, a cycle of consideration. Sometimes just like if you've got a friend and they're walking home, male or female, but honestly, especially if it's a young lady, but just walk home with them and talk. Maybe they just need someone to hear them. Maybe they just need to know that there's someone out there that cares. And there's going to be some people that, no matter what you do, it doesn't seem to work. But for most people, just one act of kindness can make all the difference in the world. Uh, so, God, this is 40 minutes long. I'm terribly sorry. To sort of sum up my point, mental health is real. Be a part of the start. Always try to see things from every available perspective. And music is your best support group. Um, it it saved me many times. And Ren is is a pretty amazing musical therapist. And as a musician, he's next level. So thank you guys very much. I'm sorry this went so long, but there was so much to unpack there. But yeah, let's discuss everything in the comments down below, and let me know what other Ren songs would you like me to react to. So that's all for today. If you are still around after these 42 minutes, you're awesome. Thank you very much. Uh, yeah, I will be seeing you guys later. And once again, thank you to the Renegades. Welcome to the channel.